Isn't it hilarious that you will work 80 hours a week at a job you dislike just to earn a paycheck that you're then terrified to actually spend on anything that brings you joy? You'll stand in the grocery store, having a silent, dramatic debate with yourself over whether to buy the fancy coffee or the generic brand, as if that $3 difference is the only thing standing between you and total financial ruin. It's a special kind of madness, isn't it? This deep, almost religious devotion to the struggle. You've become a professional at being broke. You've got a PhD in just getting by. You know the script, you know the lines, you know the feeling of relief when the month ends, and you've somehow miraculously survived again. It's your favorite drama series, and you're the star. But what if I told you that the universe, God, the divine mind, whatever you want to call it, absolutely despises this performance? Not because you're failing, but because you're succeeding so brilliantly at playing a role you were never meant to audition for. That's exactly what we're exploring today. We are going to fuse the profound inner work of the mystic Neville Goddard with the glorious outer boldness of the one and only Reverend Ike. We're going to bridge the gap between Neville's command to live in the end state of your wish fulfilled and Ike's revolutionary idea that money is simply God in action. This isn't just another lecture on manifestation. This is about understanding on a soul level that to struggle against wealth is to struggle against the divine expressing itself through you. You're about to see that prosperity isn't a state you think your way into or feel your way into. It is a unified state of being where your inner world of assumption and your outer world of experience finally click together forever. So how do we get to that unified state? First, we have to understand why we aren't there already. The reason is simple, and Neville Goddard laid it out with beautiful clarity. Your imagination is the creative engine of the universe, the very workshop of God. The problem is, most of us are using this divine workshop like a cosmic complaint department. Let's imagine your inner world is a magnificent, fully stocked kitchen. It has every ingredient you could ever dream of: truffles of joy, saffron of success, and an endless supply of the sparkling water of well-being. God, the head chef, has given you free rein. Now what do most of us do? We walk into this glorious kitchen, ignore all the fine ingredients, and pull out a dusty, tattered recipe card passed down from our great-aunt Mildred called a modest pot of just enough to get by. We spend all day faithfully following the recipe. We meticulously measure out a teaspoon of panic about the bills. We stir in a cup of worry about the car breaking down. We let it all simmer in a broth of I never have enough. We are living in the end of a meal we claim we don't want. Then, when the universe serves us a steaming bowl of just enough to get by, we act surprised. We were the ones who cooked it. We used our powerful, God-given imagination to create a meal of mediocrity. This is precisely where the magnificent Reverend Ike comes roaring in to agree. He would look at you, simmering your struggle stew, and say, "What in God's name are you doing?" Because to Ike, money is God in action. It is a divine ingredient. It is the flour for the bread of life, the sugar for the cake of celebration. When you stand in your cosmic kitchen and refuse to use the golden divine ingredient of money because you're too busy perfecting your recipe for lack, you are actively insulting the head chef. You are telling God that your familiar little bowl of worry is more satisfying than the feast of abundance He has prepared for you. You see, the universe doesn't punish you with lack. It just honors your recipe. It gives you what you are ordering with your feeling, with your assumption. And if you're finding this little kitchen metaphor helpful for understanding your own creative power, do me a favor and give this video a like and subscribe so we can keep cooking up these truths together. The secret isn't to fight your old recipe, it's to simply choose a new one. Don't analyze the ingredients of the struggle stew. Just drop the recipe card and start imagining the taste of the creme brulee of wealth. Now, choosing that new recipe is a glorious first step, but it's only half the battle. You can't sit in your divine kitchen imagining a 7-course meal of success and then walk out into the world wearing an apron that says "Born to Scrub Floors." The inner man and the outer man have got to get on the same page. Your external attitude, your very self-image, is the uniform you wear that tells the world which recipe you're cooking. And honey, some of you are walking around in the most pitiful, worn-out, hand-me-down uniforms I have ever seen. You walk into a room like you're apologizing for the space you occupy, head down, shoulders slumped, as if you're expecting to be audited by the universe at any moment. You speak about your desires in a tiny, timid voice, adding a little "God willing" at the end, as if God isn't already willing and just waiting for you to get out of your own way. You look at something beautiful in a store window and you don't see an object of desire. You see a bill, a problem, a reason to feel guilty. That is the posture of poverty. That is the walk of lack. You are dressing your magnificent God self in the rags of "I can't afford it." What's the silliest broke habit you have? Maybe you save the good paper towels for a special occasion. Go on, confess your sins in the comments below. Let's have a good laugh at these ridiculous traditions of lack so we can finally let them go. This is where you must embody the psychology of Reverend Ike. He would tell you to throw your shoulders back, lift your chin up, walk into the bank not like you're begging for a loan, but like you're considering buying the bank. When you answer the phone, don't let a bill collector hear fear in your voice. Let them hear the calm authority of someone who handles their business. This isn't about being arrogant. It's about being congruent. Neville told you to capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Ike is telling you to give that feeling a body to walk around in. If you truly felt the spiritual wealth inside, could you possibly shuffle your feet? If you were saturated with the feeling of success, would your voice crack when you state your price? Of course not. The inner assumption of wealth demands an outer bearing of dignity. You have to stop identifying as a struggler and start presenting yourself to the world as the successful, prosperous, divine being you decided to be back in that cosmic kitchen. Your new self-image isn't a lie you tell. It's the truth you now live. All right, so you've done it. You've dropped the recipe for struggle stew. You've picked up the one for the creme brulee of wealth. You're walking with your chin up, your shoulders back, presenting to the world the very image of success. You feel magnificent, powerful, congruent. And then you check your bank account. The number is the same. Maybe it's even a little lower after you bought that coffee you actually wanted. The panic starts to creep in, that old familiar friend, whispering sweet nothings of catastrophe in your ear. And this is the moment. This is the gotcha moment where most people fail. You start refreshing the banking app every 10 minutes, as if your focused rage will somehow bully an extra zero into appearing. You open the mail with one eye closed, bracing for the bill that will prove this was all a silly game. A friend complains about being broke, and you take it as a personal, cosmic sign that you're doomed to join them. Listen to me very carefully. This is the great test. This is where Neville Goddard separates the masters from the dabblers. This is the moment that calls for radical persistence. Your job now is to practice the art of denying the senses. Your eyes, your ears, your bank statements. They are professional tattletales, and all they can do is report on the past. They are showing you the harvest from the old seeds of lack you were planting for years. You must learn to look at the facts of your current reality and say, with calm, unshakable conviction, that's old news. Reverend Ike would call this refusing to look at the ghetto. Why would you stand on the lawn of the mansion you are building in your imagination and turn around to stare at the shack you just left? To give your attention to the evidence of lack is to start renovating the very prison you claim you want to escape. You are telling God that the shadow is more real than the light. Think of it this way. You have planted a perfect, potent seed, your assumption of wealth, in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Now, What kind of a fool goes out into the garden the next morning, digs up the seed to see if it's sprouting, and then gets angry when it's not a tree yet? You would kill it. That is exactly what you are doing when you frantically check for evidence, when you waver, when you entertain doubt. You are digging up your own divine harvest. This gap in time is not a denial from the universe. It is a necessary, sacred interval. It is the gestation period. Your only job during this time is to water that seed with the feeling of the wish fulfilled and keep the weeds of doubt away. Denying the senses isn't about delusion. It is the highest form of faith and discipline. It is the ultimate test of persistence, proving that you trust the creative power of God within you more than you trust the fleeting shadows on the wall. So let's bring it all home. Neville gave you the inner blueprint, the command to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Ike gave you the outer expression, the bold psychology of someone who knows their divine worth. You have the map, and you have the fuel. Now, you need the secret weapon that combines them into one fluid, daily motion. This is the technique that will finally get you out of your own way. I call it the prosperity pivot. It's deceptively simple, but its power is immense. Find a moment, anytime you feel that old familiar pang of lack creeping in. Instead of fighting it, you're going to pivot. Close your eyes. For just 60 seconds, enter your imagination. Don't just see a pile of money. See a scene that implies your wealth is already a fact. See yourself at the checkout, swiping your card for a cart full of the best organic food, and feeling nothing but calm satisfaction. Feel the relief of opening a bill and paying it instantly, with a quiet smile. Saturate your subconscious mind with a genuine feeling of financial freedom. That is the Neville step. Now, here's the pivot. After that minute, open your eyes. But do not drop that feeling. This is the Ike step. Anchor that feeling of calm satisfaction in your body. Straighten your spine. Let the ghost of that smile linger on your face. Walk out of the room with the posture of the person you just were in your imagination. Carry that feeling with you into your next action. Whether it's making coffee or answering an email, you are no longer just imagining wealth. You are embodying it. A word of warning. The moment you perform this beautiful pivot, and then immediately think, well, that was nice, but I'm still broke, you have just performed a mental abortion. You have conceived a new reality, and then immediately terminated it with doubt. Your only job after the pivot is to maintain this new mental diet. Trust that the seed you planted is growing in the dark. The prosperity pivot isn't just an exercise. It's how you begin to live, moment by moment, as the person you have decided to be. So there it is, the whole divine conspiracy laid bare. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the sole and supreme operant power in your reality. Every dollar that has ever eluded you did so on your command. Every opportunity that passed you by did so with your permission, granted by your devotion to the old story of lack. But that story is over. The credits have rolled. Your performance as the struggling hero is finished. From this moment forward, your one and only affirmation is this: I am the wealth of God in glorious, undeniable expression. If you are ready to make this truth your lived reality, to master the fusion of Neville Goddard's inner world and Reverend Ike's outer command, then subscribe to this channel. We are just getting started. Let the world struggle to understand how you did it. You'll just smile, knowing you finally quit your full-time job of being broke to accept the divine promotion you were always meant to have. It's time to stop being so good at the struggle and start being brilliant at your success. After all, it is far more fun to be unapologetically rich than it is to be brilliantly broke. That is the power of I am and the freedom of a wealth mindset.